This is the sun wheel. So what this is you won't usually see a pattern, you won't usually see the sequential order like this. The reason I've done it like this is because it's so it fits in with the travelling of the sun through the year, so it becomes a year calendar zodiac rather than a fortune telling zodiac or what have you. So let's start in Beltane, Walpurgisnacht, May the 1st. It's halfway through spring, and there's an interesting holiday called May Day, and the kids in like brownies or what have you, like just those like what the English version of like Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts or whatever, and in schools they set up like a maypole, and it's really weird because like everyone dances around the maypole but they don't have any idea of what that maypole symbolises. It's basically Baal's cock and they're dancing around it and they have no idea what they're even doing. Right, so let's move on to Litha, the summer solstice, June 23rd, going into the Tropic of Cancer. That's why in my previous video why Boaz was Capricorn and Joachim was Cancer. That's because Cancer is the summer solstice and Capricorn is the winter solstice. Two oppositional patterns, darkness and light, strength versus beauty, etc. Right, so the sun is in its absolute highest place in the summer solstice, and it's the highest in the sky. I can't remember what exact degrees it is, but it's the highest degrees it can go in the horizon in that time. And then as we get towards the Leo constellation, when the sun ends up in Leo, this is called Lammas, and it's like it's when it's the hottest day of the year, but it's not the longest day of the year. Summer solstice is the longest day of the year, but this is where the sun has sort of like consolidated the heat and brought up the entire atmosphere. And then let's get into like some astrotheology now and some Jesus story stuff as we get to autumn, which is very auspicious, like the Harvest Festival on September 23rd. Well, here's the thing about that. That's when the sun starts to die out. And if you notice, you've seen this in churches, like the cross with the circle around it, that's the sun on the cross of the zodiac, the 4 seasons. And notice that there's 12 zodiac, 12 disciples. The sun of God is in the middle. He is the light of this world. He ascended into the heaven by 3 degrees. It doesn't say the degrees part, but it should have said that. He is there's so many verses. I could get some of them up actually. Right, so after that it goes into Samhain, Halloween, or Hallows Eve, October 31st, when the spiritual veil is the thinnest. Now this is in the constellation of Scorpio, and under Scorpio there is the crux you can't see it in the northern hemisphere, but it's in the southern hemisphere. And the film Zeitgeist actually got a few things wrong. They said the crux was under Sagittarius in Yule, but that's not true. It's actually under Scorpio. So they made a few minor mistakes, but it's still a pretty good film. So check it out if you haven't seen it before. It's very enlightening. Right, so then you've got Yule, winter solstice, Xmas, Christmas. In December the 21st, the sun reaches the lowest point in the sky where in visible sight, for 3 days it seems to stop dead in place, and it looks like it symbolises the death of the sun, and this is in midwinter when all the crops have frozen and everything, so you can see how to the ancients this would easily symbolise death. And then on December 25th it rises again and is reborn. The sun is reborn, so it dies for 3 days, then is resurrected and ascended into heaven, becoming the light of the world. You get the picture. And then Imbolc, February 2nd, Candlemas, not really that important. And then we go to Ostara, the vernal equinox, March 20th. On East Star Sun Day, he was resurrected. And the funny thing about Easter is it always changes the day. That's because after the vernal equinox, then you wait for a full moon, and then it's on the Sunday after that, after the full moon, after the vernal equinox. That's because Osiris impregnates Isis, the moon goddess, and they give birth to the sun. Ra, Isis, and Osiris. But you go into like loads of different cultures, and there's always the sun god, the moon god, and then the son of God. And it's actually an allegory for consciousness, and it's a long story. And so concludes our esoteric chronometry series.